feels like, what it might be like to be driving through the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
It's just unbelievable how beautiful this is. But I never knew any of this was here. This is where you can actually drive down into this canyon like this. It's just unreal. Hey roamers, I'm Jamie.
I'm Linda.
And we're taking a break from Rosie's renovation this week.
That's right. Social distancing is the perfect excuse for us to take a Thanksgiving camping trip to some of Arizona's most beautiful fall areas.
So for this week's episode, we're going to take a look back at our summer travels to Utah.
To an out-of-this-world landscape called the San Rafael Swell Recreation Area. Check it out. We're in Castledale, Utah, just south of Price, Utah, which is just south of Salt Lake City.
Right.
So we're trying to find directions. We're going to go to some area called the Wedge, and there's a canyon, another little Grand Canyon.
Yep.
Another one, I think there's about a dozen. But we stopped here in this town to get some information and some maps because we've heard there's no cellular or anything in the canyon. And we found this really cool war memorial honoring the veterans. So we're going to stop and take a look.
Right.
When the mines were closing in Emery County, Utah, the small towns there decided to create a new national monument with more than 500,000 acres of designated wilderness. In 2018, this became the Emery County Public Land Management Act. We're headed to Buckhorn Wash. That's what the lady at the San Rafael Museum suggested was the best place to start since we're going to head back the other way. Now you could take this all the way through. I'm not sure where it goes, but I'll put that down below. And then what we picked up from the San Rafael Museum was this cool guide here, your map to adventure. It's very detailed, both sides of this. And then she also gave us this guide adventure. So the area is considered the Swell. And there's a lot of BLM land and a lot of days worth of exploring of every kind here. And we're going to Buckhorn Draw, not Buckhorn Wash.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna end, 'cause you've been a good friend.
The Buckhorn Wash Pictograph panel is one of the best works of rock art we've ever seen. On its own, it would have been worth the trip to Utah just to see this. At each section of the 130-foot rock face, there's a display board with specific information about it. These pictographs have been painted on the surface as opposed to petroglyphs, which are carved, pecked, or chiseled into the rock. So some modern day man decided they wanted to contribute. That's from water, I think. Very blue here, and the contrast between the dark brown red rock and the crystal blue sky and puffy clouds is just amazing to see. Sadly, we're here during all the time where there's the fires in California and Oregon and Washington, and Utah is under all kinds of fire restraints and regulations right now because it's just bone dry. But that's why the sky doesn't look as pretty. I feel like it would be so nice to make this video with a really pretty blue sky, but it isn't that way right now. But it's still beautiful to us to be here.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, you don't have the blue, but I mean, shooting video and taking pictures of this does not grasp the enormity and how pretty this place really is.
We are at the San Rafael River. We took Buckhorn Draw.
Yeah, we're in Buckhorn Draw.
So we're not quite sure how much further it goes, but there's been a lot of dry camping, BLM land, forest land, and a lot of people camping. We haven't seen very many big motorhome. We haven't seen any motorhomes.
Not one.
No. So there's some big dips where, you know, for the washes. Yeah,
there's some areas where it's like an area for water to pass through, and those dips are pretty deep.
For a long vehicle that doesn't have high clearance.
Yeah, for a long vehicle like ours, I think if I got in the middle of that, the front would be touching one side and the back would be touching the other side.
We'd be stuck.
We'd be stuck.
But there's been some really nice camp spots.
Yeah,
and it's really quiet.
A lot of real pretty areas.
So right now we are at this bridge, the San Rafael Bridge, and we'll show it to you.
Yep.
This is called the Little Grand Canyon. Now we keep seeing places called the Little Grand Canyon, but this is pretty cool, and you're driving right down into it. We just easily drove right down into here. We don't have four-wheel drive, we don't have a Jeep, we just have a little SUV. But here's the history of the bridge. Can you walk across it? No water, everything is really dry. San Rafael Bridge, 1937. Wow, check this out. So cars obviously went across it for many, many years.
At one point, yeah.
This cool little campground is right across from the bridge that we just walked over. It's $6 a night. The spaces look pretty wide apart. I don't know what the Grand Canyon's really like to be way down inside it, other than seeing that 3D movie. What was it? The IMAX movie. It's all shot
from Grand Canyon.
Yeah. So the IMAX movie that takes you in a helicopter right down in there. That's all we've ever been down inside the Grand Canyon. But this kind of feels like what it might be like to be driving through the bottom of the Grand Canyon, right?
Well, I don't think
It's more. It's
not as deep as the Grand Canyon.
correct.
This would probably be like, I don't know, maybe half or 3/4 of the way down into it. Because when you look at the Grand Canyon, there's rock that's like this and all these different levels, and then when you look down at the most deepest parts, it's almost kind of black rock, and we're not seeing any of that here, so I don't think we're at that depth. But still, this is awesome. It's every bit as incredible as Zion or...
Without any other people, hardly.
Yeah, there's hardly anybody here. It's just unbelievable how beautiful this is, and it's here. This is where you can actually drive down into this canyon like this. It's just unreal.
This is what we're looking at out the window. I mean, we came out on this because we thought we were going to see petroglyphs up close, and we did, and they're amazing.
Right.
The detail is just totally amazing. The size of them, the scope of them, and I think we saw probably 1/100% of what's probably in here of petroglyphs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they don't.
But they made it really easy for you to just park and walk and see them with information about them, which is really nice. So we're gonna go check out this rock art. We're on our way coming back from Buckhorn Draw and the campground that was out in the middle of the Little Grand Canyon, and everything's well marked. So there's this spot right here with a nice little trail to go check out some more rock art. Do you hear that? The only noise is Jamie's feet. So we can get right up in here. This is literally 3 feet in front of me. They let you come up, trusting that you won't damage anything, of course. Just amazing that it's lasted this long. That looks like it's what they are calling pecking. So they chipped away little tiny bits. All my GoPro batteries have died. Shooting this on my phone, which I don't usually do. It's not very stable. Wedge Overlook Recreation Area. Little Grand Canyon Fork. So this is the overlook for the Little Grand Canyon here at the Wedge, and it's just really cool. So you can camp right here this close to the rim. We're on our way to the other side of the Wedge Overlook. See lots of people camping here. Small trailers, nothing big, but it's pretty cool because they can just walk over and look into this canyon. You can camp right here if you're equipped. Back, we got this really beautiful sunset. And even though there's a lot of people around here camping, everyone's quiet. to Utah, we always say there's too much to see for any one trip. Now I think we've been there for weeks at a time for several times, right?
Yep.
And we still haven't even seen everything in the southern half of Utah.
Yeah, that's right. I can stay there forever and just find new interesting things in that area. So next week we're going to get back on Rosie's renovation, and if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure and hit that subscribe button.
And you want to ring the bell so you'll get notified each time we put out a new video, especially if you're following our renovation. See you next time.
Thanks for watching.